Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Last video I made was a fun tier 5 ship build using only items that were dropped from mission rewards. So I wanted to do kind of the same type of video, but this time for the Klingon faction. Now, some of you may know that we are in a Klingon recruit event time right now. Basically, I don't know how much more time there is, maybe just a few days left where you could build a Klingon recruit character within the game. If you haven't done that, I suggest you do so because you get a free tier 6 ship when you create one of those characters. You also get a starship, what is it called? The starship trait? Yeah, that's starship trait that's very good in game. It's still meta, which is Withering Barrage, and it extends or not Withering Barrage, sorry. The trait is called, oh no, it is Withering Barrage. And basically it extends your cannon scatter volley ability by 4 seconds. So basically you could do more damage for a longer time. Very nice to have within the game. Honestly, highly recommend it. So create one of those Klingon recruit characters if you haven't done so already. You just have to get up to the point where you get a special device. And then when you get that special device, you can just log off and then come back to that character whenever you want. But getting the free tier 6 ship from the Klingon recruit is very easy, and you don't have to get very far in the game to be able to grab that ship. So nice to have. So enough about the Klingon recruit character. Here I am in my free-to-play account, and my Klingon recruit character is called General Chang. And for those of you who know Star Trek, know who General Chang is from Star Trek The Undiscovered Country movie. I believe it's number 6 in that series. And it's just great. It's the last one with the original Star Trek crew. And General Chang is a very very neat character in that movie. So again, he's a Klingon and he loves Shakespeare, so I decided to name his bird of prey the IKS Verona. So this ship, the Burrell Bird of Prey retrofit, you can get for free once you level up your Klingon character to level 61. At level 61, you have the option of getting either this Bird of Prey, or I think the other ship might be a science ship, and I think it has something to do with Fakiri. I think it might be a Fakiri ship, the one that looks kind of like a beat up fish or something like that. At least that's the way it looks like to me. It also comes with like hanger pets and things like that, so if you want to explore that, you can as well. But I chose the Burrell Bird of Prey retrofit because it really fits the theme of General Chang, because in that movie he went ahead and flew one of these ships. Now the ship has an innate ability, an innate cloak. Basically, what I mean by innate is that you don't need a console to use the cloak. The cloak just comes on the ship without you actually having to use a specific console that allows you to cloak. For example, the Defiant that I showed in the last video, it came with a cloak device, but it was a console. I didn't put it on the ship because it was just a regular cloak, and it really wasn't going to benefit me that much, and I really needed that console slot anyways for some other things. So I took it off of the ship. Now with the Burrell, you don't have to do that because it just comes on the ship by itself without any consoles or anything like that. And it is not just a regular cloak, but an enhanced battle cloak, which is better than the regular cloak. And after you decloak, it gives you 25% bonus damage for 15 seconds. And I believe with this cloak, you could also fire torpedoes from this ship when it is cloaked. So just like in the movie, The Undiscovered Country. So that's really neat. Okay, so as you can see right here, this is a tier 5 ship. It has not been upgraded to tier 5U, so it's just very base, all right? So we're going to see what this ship can do. Let me show you basically what I fitted it out with. In the 4 weapon slots, I have the Resonant Disruptor dual heavy cannons. This is from a mission in the Iconian arc, and let me show you that real quick. If we go to episodes, we go to Iconian arc, War arc here. It is from this mission here called Blood of the Ancients. Now you could grab this Resonant Disruptor dual heavy cannon. You could grab this resonant transphasic torpedo, and you could grab this tactical console, which is called the harmonic resonance relay, from that one mission. So I have 3 devices here that I grabbed from this one mission alone. And if cannons are not your thing, you could also get a beam array from there as well, which is a disruptor beam array. So really neat. The difference with a resonant disruptor instead of just a regular disruptor is the fact that you have a chance to basically the weapon has a chance to give off a resonant disruptor wave, and that resonant disruptor wave within a 12-kilometer radius of the target, it will cause 486.6 physical damage to that ship at 100% shield penetration. So it doesn't matter if their shields are up. If the resonant disruptor wave hits that ship, they're going to get 486.6 physical damage. It's not a huge amount of damage. I mean, we're not talking like it's going to take out like 20% of the hull or something like that. But it's just kind of a nice thing to have, right? It's so, I mean, in some ways it makes it slightly better than just a regular disruptor cannon. Next, we have a couple of the dual disruptor cannons here. We have different procs on it, but they are from the same mission, and I'll show you that mission right now. That is from a Klingon Civil War story arc, and it is from the mission called Knowledge is Power. So you could grab these from there, but just be aware that every time you play the mission, you're going to get a different type of disruptor dual cannons. They're going to be disruptor dual cannons, but the procs are going to be different on them. The first one I got had accuracy, crit D times 2, and then the second one had crit D times 2 damage. So a little bit different, but I mean, still at the base level, they are dual disruptor cannons, which is nice to have. I wish, again, that they had some for phasers, but they really don't seem to have those as mission reward drops. Moving on, we have our torpedo, and this is the Nausicaan Energy Torpedo Launcher. This is from one of the missions in the New Frontier story arc. In fact, the first mission, I believe, called Echoes of Light. So there's a set here also. There's a 3-piece set that you can grab. I currently have a 2-piece from there. I don't know, I probably should have gotten the 3-piece instead, but I really wanted to try the 3-piece from the Resonant Disruptor set. So I might have chosen the worst of the two. I guess we'll see. But the Nausicaan Energy Torpedo is not a regular torpedo because it says it's an energy torpedo, which means that the type of damage is going to be energy damage pretty much that it's going to be doing. So the nice thing about having an energy torpedo versus a regular torpedo is that your consoles that boost energy damage will also boost this torpedo damage. So take that for what you will. It's just kind of a different thing to have, but because of the set piece, I have it up there, and it's kind of a nice torpedo to have. All right, so let's move to the aft weapons here. We have the Resonant Transphasic Torpedo Launcher. This is, again, from that same Iconian Wars mission called Blood of the Ancients, and it's part of that 3-piece Resonant set. Now, the torpedo really is nothing to write about. It's a transphasic torpedo. They usually do very low damage, even though they supposedly have, you know, bonus shield penetration, but honestly, they're not really worth the time to get. I don't know. Maybe I could have put the... No, I don't think it would have let me put... There's a beam array too, but I don't think it would let me put that in the back here. So I went with the torpedo instead. And again, I only have that because I'm doing a 3-piece for this set just to kind of see how it works out. Then another thing that I have in the aft weapons area is the House Martok Omnidirectional Disruptor Beam Array. This you get from the New Frontiers story arc from the mission called Brushfire. Now you get this Omnidirectional Disruptor Beam Array. You have the option to get another transphasic torpedo type, or this console here, the House Martok Defensive Configuration. The nice thing about it is that you could actually grab both of these items at the same time by playing the mission once, because this mission is always going to drop this engineering console. So every time that you play this mission, it's going to just default drop this engineering console. Now the other 2 things that you could pick is between Again, the omnidirectional disruptor beam array or the transphasic torpedo. Not this one specifically, but another one. So again, transphasic torpedoes don't do a ton of damage. So, I picked the disruptor beam array, the omnidirectional. The reason I have this and not a turret is because I couldn't find any mission drops for disruptor turrets. So I looked through the different missions and I didn't see one that would drop disruptor turrets. So normally I like to have those turrets in the back because it's the same kind of damage as cannons, but I couldn't find them. Now, if I'm wrong and I missed something, please go ahead and leave a comment down below and let the community know where you could find those, but I couldn't find any, which is why I'm using the omnidirectional beam array. So usually I don't like mixing, cannons and beams, but in this case, it'll just have to do. And the two-piece isn't too bad also. So the two-piece between this omnidirectional disruptor beam array and the engineering console is pretty good. And I'll show you that in a second. Next, we have an experimental weapon slot, and it comes just with a standard experimental hyper-excited ion stream projector. Now, this just does electrical damage. Nothing to write home about, but, it's extra damage. I'll take it. So, and that just comes standard with this ship. And under the devices, I have weapons battery. This stuff drops all the time as you're doing any kind of missions, any kind of patrols. You're just going to potentially have a ton of these weapons batteries. And what this does is it repairs when your weapon systems, if they're offline. So if one of your weapons you see is not firing and it's offline, you pop one of these, it'll repair it. And in addition, it'll give you a plus 75 weapons power settings for the next 20 seconds. So it'll just keep your weapons power up, which is good. The next thing you have is Delta Alliance reinforcement beacons as a device. This is pretty neat to have if you're in a tough situation and you need extra firepower. You get this from the Iconian story arc. The specific mission that you get that from, I believe, is Broken Circle. So in Broken Circle, you could choose this as one of your rewards. And what this does is signals for a strike team of 3 Delta Alliance escorts to assist you in combat for 45 seconds. So if you're just at the end, you're at the boss, you find out, man, I don't feel like I have enough firepower. Pop this off. You have extra ships coming in to aid you to deal some damage. So that's kind of nice to have. Under engineering consoles, the first one we have is reinforced armaments. It's an engineering console. We get that from the New Frontiers story arc. The specific mission is Beyond the Nexus. Now, this is nice, and you'll see this on a lot of ships, especially ones that are doing phaser damage, because the two-piece set is really nice to have with this and like the omnidirectional beam array for that, or the turret for that. But in this case, since we're not doing any phaser damage, we're trying to go for disruptor, we just have it simply here for the console itself. And the console gives you some hull restoration, some hull capacity, and some transfer rates. If you want to more specifics, I'm just going to hover over and you can just pause the video there. I'm going to try to go through these pretty quickly. I don't want this video to drag on too long. So, all right, the next one is Trillium deplating. Now, this one we saw in the last video that I did. I think both of these consoles actually we saw in the last video that I made. But this one has gives you some hull capacity, also some shield capacity, and makes you immune to the effects of the Delphic Expanse. Also a 13.3 plus 13.3 to all damage resistance rating. So it's nice to have, keep you alive, right? So anything that keep you alive at least a little bit, it all helps. So this is level 12s. All of these things are level 12s. I have not upgraded any of it. This is just how it comes from you completing those missions. We have, at least if you're leveled up to at least level 61, I think this is the Mark type that they come at. So Mark 12s. The last console is the House Martok defensive configuration, which we spoke about a little bit earlier. This gives some maximum hit points, some shield power, engine power, maximum shield capacity, and flight turn rates. And it's here for those things, and in addition for the two-piece. So if we take a look at that, go to more details. Right here, you'll see that if you have 2 items of the set, and we do because we have the omnidirectional disruptor beam array and the console, you're going to get a plus 2.5 to critical chance and a plus 15 to accuracy for your weapons. So it's nice to have a little extra crit chance and accuracy for your weapons. Next, we have the science consoles. We got the Nausicaan Siphon Capacitor. Siphon? I think it's Siphon Capacitor. And this goes in conjunction with that Nausicaan Energy Torpedo that we talked about earlier. So we'll get a 2-piece out of that. And this gives me some Starship Drain expertise, also power transfer rate and disruptor damage. So it's here mostly for that plus 20 disruptor damage, but it's nice to have some resistances to drain that other ships might do to you, so it's nice to have for that. It's not a lot, but again, I'll take every little bit that I can get. Let's take a look at the 2-piece for this. Really, the 2-piece, what it does, it gives you something called Disruptor Net. The Disruptor Net, it gains a 796.2 disruptor damage every 1 second for 5 seconds. So there's like this kind of net that comes around some of your foes, and having a 2-piece of this set will give you an extra bit of disruptor damage every second for 5 seconds to that ship. The 3-piece is nicer because the 3-piece actually gives you plus 28.5 to disruptor damage. In fact, I should have probably done that instead of the 3-piece that I'm going with right now, but I'd have to go through that mission again and grab it, and you know what? I just want to try the other 3-piece and see how that goes. But it's really nice. The 3-piece of the Nausicaan set is nice because it gives you a plus 2, again, 28.5 to disruptor damage, and a plus 50 to starship hull penetration for starship weapons. That's kind of really nice. So I may have to redo this build later or just revisit it and with that 3-piece instead of the 3-piece that I have right now, and see how that works out. Next, we have the temporarily shielded data core, and that's from the Future Proof story arc. The mission is Temporal Reckoning, and this gives me some physical damage resistance rating, some kinetic damage resistance, some Starship exotic particle generators, so I could do better exotic damage if I need to, and a plus 20 to Starship control expertise, so and resistances to control also. So it's nice to have. Then we have the Temporal Disentanglement Suite. This is from the Iconian War story arc. This is from the mission called Butterfly. And this one gives me some auxiliary power, some maximum shield capacity, also a potential to gain some crit chance and some critical severity based on the amount of power I have on my auxiliary area, or whatever it's called. So so based on that, I can gain some critical chance and critical severity. So kind of cool. Under the tactical consoles, I have the third part of that Resonant Disruptor 3-piece set. And this one gives me a plus 20 to disruptor damage and a plus 20 to the transphasic projectile weapons. I don't really care about the plus 20 transphasic projectile weapons, but I do like the fact that you get the plus 20% to the disruptor damage. Also, you get plus 4 to armor penetration for your weapons. So that's kind of nice to have. The 3-piece, let me show you here real quick. The 2-piece first gives you a plus 3.8 to weapons power settings. Also, the Resonant Disruptor Wave increases the energy damage dealt to the shields by 15%. And then the 3-piece gives you the Harmonic Firing Enhancement Matrix. Basically, it's a clicky. I have it down here. It's a clicky that will give you a 4% firing cycle haste for energy weapons, buff to every single, or to yourself every second, up to 10 stacks. So that's nice to have extra firing cycle haste for your weapons. If they're shooting faster, then they're hitting more, if that makes sense. And lastly, we have the Disruptor Induction Coils. We have 2 of those. This will just boost disruptor damage plus 30%. It gives a plus 30% to disruptor damage for my energy weapons. And also, actually, now for my my front Nausicaan energy torpedo, because it is an energy torpedo. All right, we didn't look at the deflector, the impulse, warper shields. Let's look at that real quick. It's a little bit different than the one that I did for the Defiant, because for the Defiant, I had the Soul Defense 3-piece, which was a Soul Defense deflector, impulse, and shields. But I'm only using 1 piece from that Soul Defense, which is the impulse engines. For the deflector, I went with something different, the Vaadwaur Defense Deflector Array. And for the shields, I went with the Vaadwaur Defense Covariant Shield Array. The reason I went with these two is for the two-piece. If I go to more details here, you can see that the two-piece gives me a plus 19 to disruptor damage. So a little bit of extra disruptor damage for my ship. It's nice to have. I mean, the deflector is okay, and the shield is okay too. The shield actually will change the look of your ship a little bit. And let me see if we could see that here real quick. If I go and enable visuals, you see it changes kind of the color and the look of the ship a little bit, even of the impulse engines, the color. But it's kind of more of a light sand brown or something like that. You can see it better actually over here. The little picture right here from my ship, that's with it on, and then this is with it off. So it's more green, more like what we're used to seeing a bird of prey as. But if we enable visuals of the shield, see it's kind of like more of a sand color. And it's nice. It's, you know, for it being a mission reward, it's nice to have one that kind of changes the look of your ship. There's a couple of them like that, but the other ones are very old and very kind of outdated right now, the look. But this one's kind of nice. I dig it. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to leave the bird of prey standard. And then for the warp core, we have the temporal face overcharged warp core that we can get from the Iconian mission story called Butterfly. So we get that from Butterfly, and it's just a pretty good standard, basically, warp core. Oh, I didn't tell you where the Vaadwaur defense is from. Let me show you where that's from. If we go to the New Frontier story arc, we go down here, scroll down, there's this mission called Scylla and Charybdis. That's where you can get both of those things, the deflector array and the shield. You could also get some impulse engines, but in this case I decided not to use the impulse engines from the set and just do the two-piece deflector and the shields. Now the Bajorian shields have an interesting ability. Let me show you that real quick. So basically it has this thing called retaliatory coronal shield ejection. Basically, if one of your shield faces is down, so you have four. You have the front, you have the aft, you have the port, and the starboard, the sides, right? So if you get hit on the sides a lot, and then your left shield is all the way down, if the ship is near that corner that's been attacking you, once the shield is down, your ship is actually gonna shoot out some plasma at that ship. So basically like a plasma cloud comes out and shoots at the enemy ship, and it causes some radiation damage to that ship. So it's kind of nice to have. It's kind of like, oh, you took down my shields. Well, you know what? Forget you. Here, get some plasma damage, you know? So so it's just kind of a neat thing to have. It's interesting mechanic. Let's take a look at my skills. If you guys want to see my skill tree, this is what it is. If you want to take a screenshot of it, you can at this point. 3, 2, 1. Okay, moving on. We're going to go to the specializations, and you'll see that I don't really have any specialization completely maxed out. On this character, I'm working on the Intel Officer specialization, and as you can see, it's not maxed out yet. I only have some of it done. I have a little bit of ways to go still. However, one of the things that is really going to help me out here is that I have gotten this far down where I get space flanking 1 and 2, and basically space flanking 2 gives you a 10% bonus all damage when hitting the enemy's rear arc. So if my ship is hitting the enemy from the rear of, from their rear, basically I'm hitting them a lot harder as far as the weapons damage goes. So a plus 10 bonus all damage when hitting the enemy's rear arc. And I know you guys are going to make fun of the way that I said that, so sorry. But yeah, basically I have that as my primary, strategist as my secondary, but there's no points in it. So this character is far from, being maxed out on everything. And I just kind of want to show you guys that you can still do okay with these ships, even if you don't have everything maxed out. Because let's be honest, not everybody has the amount of time to put into this game to do endeavors every single day, to, you know, make sure that you're getting 1 point into your skills every day or into your specializations every day. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of time, and people have jobs, people have families, and some people are just more casual at the gaming, right? So you can still do okay in this game, even if you don't have everything maxed out. So, not saying that it's not helpful to have things maxed out. It definitely helps a lot, and it gets you to that next level. But just so you're aware that you could still play this game without having everything maxed out. All right, let's take a look at the traits. The space traits, personal space traits we have. We have this one called Point Blank Shot. That's from a mission in the Iconian story arc. Again, we get a lot of goodies from the Iconian story arc. This one is from the mission House Pech. This one right here, that's a drop as a reward. And what this does, it gives you bonus energy damage, weapons damage based on the distance to your target. So the closer you are to the target, the enemy target, the more of that bonus energy weapons damage you're going to get, up to 10 plus 10%. Next, we have Innocuous, which is just standard. It just comes with any character. It minimizes the threat that your ship is perceived as, and it gives you some extra critical severity, specifically +5 critical severity and -25% threat generation. Then we have the Nanite Repair Matrix, again from the Iconian War story arc, and this is from that mission, the last mission called Midnight. You could grab this as a reward, and this gives you, when your hull drops below 50%, a plus 7,612.8 hit points. So basically, it's going to try to keep you alive and keep your hit points a little bit higher. So it's nice to have that, especially if you find that after your ship hits 50%, your your hull level is dropping really rapidly. This gives you a little bit of a boost to that, so that you can survive a little bit longer. Now, this only goes off once every 90 seconds, so it's not like this is happening all the time. So there's a 90-second cooldown on this. Cannon training comes standard. This gives us a +5 bonus to cannon weapons damage, and because we are using cannons on our ship, that's what we slotted. Next, we have redirected armor plating. That comes from a mission in the New Frontier story arc, and I believe it's the last mission. Yep. It's called the Renegade's Regret. You get this basically as a mission reward, and this gives you +30% all damage resistance ratings for 5 seconds, and that's if you're being hit from the sides or from behind your ship. So if the enemy's getting you from the sides or from behind your ship, then this will give a +32 damage resistance, which is nice. So if they're trying to flank you, you're going to be able to survive a little bit better. Next, we have Fleet Coordinator. This comes standard, +2 bonus all damage for your weapons. And then we have Operative, also comes standard. This gives a +1% critical chance and a +2% to critical severity. We have Accurate, which is also comes standard, 10% accuracy rating to your weapons. And then we have Bulkhead Technician, which gives a +10 to maximum hull hit points. This also comes standard on any character. Let's take a look at the Starship traits. So we're not using anything super special because we are using a Klingon recruit character, and we have one. 2 of these items come from having a Klingon recruit character. So this is one of the reasons why I say you should create one, because you get some nice goodies. The first Starship trait we have is Hunter's Instinct. This gives you basically, once your ship decloaks, let me see, it says for 10 seconds after a kill, cloaking will briefly placate foes. And then weapon attacks during the ambush effect awarded by leaving cloak reduces the foe's damage resistance by 10% for 15 seconds. So after you decloak and you're hitting the enemy, they will have a 10% less ability, or a -10% ability to kind of resist the attacks that you're giving them. So that's kind of nice to have. That's called Hunter's Instincts. Again, that's from the the Klingon recruit character. And then we have Predictive Algorithms. This comes from just putting points into the Intel specialization. And then you are able to get this Predictive Algorithms Starship trait. This is an accuracy buff from weapons buffs. So activating any weapons enhancement ability. So for example, attack pattern beta, attack pattern alpha, or omega, or something like that. Something that buffs your weapons. This will give you, every time you hit on one of those, sorry, I'm trying to see if I'm saying that right. Nope, I'm not saying that right. So not attack patterns. Actually, let me see. Right here it says, yeah, attack pattern beta does that. Sorry about that. I was confused there for a little bit. I apologize, y'all. But yeah, I had just a mental moment where I was like, wait, am I saying that right? I don't want to give you bad information. And if I am, go ahead and put it down below, and I apologize and put the right information. I'm not really trying to deceive anybody or give you bad information here. I'm just, sometimes all this information gets jumbled. But basically, beam overloads, fire at will, cannon scatter volley, rapid fire, torpedo high yield, torpedo spread, and things like that are going to be able to give you this buff right here, which is activating any weapons enhancement ability removes 1 debuff effect and grants a plus 2.5 accuracy rating for 30 seconds. So it just gives you better accuracy rating for your weapons. So I'm sorry, I did say it wrong before. So it's not your attack patterns. The attack patterns aren't going to buff this. What's going to buff this, what's going to activate this rather, is your cannon scatter volleys, your torpedo spreads, and things like that. All right, next we have the best defense, and maybe this is why I'm getting confused. This one's actually for attack patterns. So activating an attack pattern will give you some hull healing, plus 25 hull healing for 10 seconds. The only attack pattern that does not set this off is alpha. So attack pattern alpha will not actually set this ability off. It needs to be like beta or omega or delta, I think. You could do that. And lastly, we have Withering Barrage, which again comes with that tier 6 ship that's free for Klingon recruit characters. And this extends the duration of cannon scatter volley by 4 seconds, which is very nice because, you know, basically cannon scatter volley is a buff to your attack. It makes your attack better from your cannons. So you could extend that for 4 seconds. So that's always nice to have. And again, completely free as long as you create a Klingon recruit character, and you'll get that free tier 6 Klingon ship. And that is the starship trait that comes with it. So really nice to have. Space reputations. So just to take a look at my reputations real quick, I don't have anything leveled up beyond level 2. And in fact, some of them I have 0 points into, as you can see. So again, I haven't put like a ton of time into this character, and I'm still getting some space reputations that I'm using. Basically, space reputations start when you level up one of your reputations to level 2. So at level 1, you're only going to get the ground reputations. At level 2, that's when you start getting your space reputation abilities, right, or traits. I'm using currently chronocapacitor array, which gives me a reduced chance for bridge officer recharges. So basically a plus 7.5% bridge officer ability recharge speed. So if I want my bridge officer abilities to kind of come down from cooldown a little bit faster, this is going to help me out a little bit, the chronocapacitor array. Next we have evasive tactics. It's a control immunity. When affected by a root, hold, disable, or repeal effect, immunity to control effects for 5 seconds happens after that, and that can trigger once every 45 seconds. This isn't great, but I don't have a ton, and I know that the enemy that I'm going up against has these things that kind of control you, so I'm hoping that this will help just a little bit. Now, precision. This is from the Romulan reputation, and it's one of the better ones there. It gives you increased critical hit chance, plus 4 to critical hit chance, so that's nice to have. And then lastly, temporal flux dissipator is what I have, which is damage over time and hazard resistance. So, you know, if somebody's shooting gravity wells at me or things like that, this will give me a little bit of a chance to resist the damage from those hazard effects. So that's nice to have, I guess. I mean, like, again, I don't have a ton of put into the reputation set, so I put what I thought would work out best, and we'll see if I was right or wrong. Next, let's look at the duty officer stations. So the nice thing about this ship is that all bridge officer stations are universal. That means that you could set this up however you want. This is not specifically a tactical station or specifically a science station or specifically an engineering station. These are universal, which means you could put, if you want a commander science officer, you could put one up here instead of a tactical one. And if you want an engineering one, you could put one up here instead of the tactical one. In this case, I'm wanting more tactical, so 2 of the bridge officer stations are going to be tactical. One's going to be engineering and one's going to be science. And these are the abilities I have. For one of them, we have torpedo spread 1, attack pattern beta 1, cannon scatter volley 2, which is going to be our main the thing we're going to use the most. Attack pattern omega 2, this is gives bonus flight speed and flight turn rate and defense rating. So if I find myself in a really bad position, this could help me out. For the science station, I have hazard emitters 1s. I have photonic officer for the cooldowns and gravity well, so I can control some ships a little bit better if I can. The engineering, I have emergency power to engines 1 and emergency power to weapons 2. This emergency power to weapons 2 becomes, it's very important because it basically gives me plus 13.3% bonus energy weapons damage and a plus 30 weapons power setting for 30 seconds. It also repairs disabled weapon systems. So it's kind of like this little thing right here that I showed you earlier, the weapons battery. Except that this never runs out. You just have to wait for a cooldown. Next, we have beams fire at will. The reason I have this is because I do have a Omni beam array in the back, and I couldn't think of anything else I really wanted to put there, so it's just there. If I need to use it, I will. And then the second one is focus assault. Focus assault is kind of nice to have because basically you point this to a target, and for the next 20 seconds, allies that target that enemy gain plus 10% bonus damage for the next 3 seconds and plus 10 accuracy rating for the next 3 seconds. A reduced recharge time is possible for this ability if if by the time that the cooldown for this or not the cooldown, but the time of the effect, if you destroy a target by 50%, that this effect is on, then the cooldown for this is reduced. The recharge time, basically. I hope that makes sense. If not, just read it right here. You can pause it, and maybe as you read it, it'll make more sense to you. All right, so I think that's everything that I have for the build type of this ship. Nothing super big to write home about. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do something different. We're going to go to a patrol that is not going to be Wanted Argala, which is what we would usually do. And I'm actually not going to do advanced because one of the biggest threats that a new player faces when playing this game is when you go to the Delta Quadrant and you meet the Vaadwaur. They stink, man. They are just a pain in the butt. And so, you are blowing up left and right when you fight the Vaadwaur. Especially if you haven't had a chance to really build up your ship and all that stuff and the abilities, and you don't have your reputations up. They're just kind of hard, and that's at normal difficulty level. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a patrol where we're going to actually meet up with some of the Vaadwaur, and we're going to do it on normal difficulty, and we'll see how this ship does. So we're going to go ahead and launch that right now. By the way, I haven't played this yet with this ship, so my reactions are going to be live, quote unquote. I mean, we're going to see how I do here. I might blow up a lot, so we'll see. I'm not going to go through all the cutscenes on here. I'm just going to go ahead and play it and see how we do. Let me fix this cooperative sphere. Yep. You're welcome. Next, we're going to go to this Octani battle cruiser. and try to help them out.
Stay away from us. Incoming Vaadwaur.
Oh, we got Vaadwaur already. Alright, I'm going to try to pop off this gravity well and see if it does anything for them. The thing about these Vaadwaur, though, man, they got those cannons that really hit hard, man. Alright, we got one off here.
More Vaadwaur are warping to our location.
I'm going to try to use a cloak. Alright, so far so good. Some of these Vaadwaur, though, they're all over the place, and it's really hard to kind of just keep them in one place as you're trying to target them. Oh, you saw that? My while I was in cloak, my energy torpedo went off, which is kind of nice again to see. It's kind of cool. All right. Okay, so far we're doing okay. I really should be moving more than I am.
Saved us.
Yep, we saved you.
We shall follow you to recover
All
our
right.
ally.
So now we have 2 other ships over here. Looks like we have to go help. Let's hit this group up first. And I think this is where things are going to get a little bit more hairy. Because, yeah, there's a lot more ships. Oh, yeah. Oof. Oh, no, not these things. I hate these anchor constrictor things. Oh, I'm going to die. Come on, move, 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 move. Oh, no. Ooh. Yo, I almost died there. You know what? Nah, I was gonna pop off fleet support, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna try to do this just with the ships that are in here. Man, I hate running away, but sometimes you have to. You saw that little plasma that just went out? That's because my shield facings were down. Or my shields were down in some of those facings. Alright. Careful here. Don't want to run into a warp core breach. Oh! That's pretty quick in the game and I'm already blown up. Man, the Vaadwaur really stink, man. I really hate them. Alright, I just need to be probably moving more than I am, probably cloaking more than I am. Let's let me cloak now. Let's try to get back in the fight here. Take these guys out. I really dislike them. Alright. So he's gone. I'm telling you, I think like later on you get even more Vaadwaur than this. So if I'm already blowing up, it doesn't bode well for the rest of this mission.
Thank you for the unexpected aid.
You're welcome for the unexpected aid. Alright. Let's see if we can do this, y'all. Ugh. Man, you really got to keep your concentration with these guys. You know what? I really should be trying to hit their rear arc a little bit more because I get bonuses if I hit them from the rear arc. Alright, here we go. Let's take out this heavy artillery ship. You know, I really need to move. Let's just keep moving. Get out of the way. no tri-cobalt devices. Alright, nice. Just barely, but nice. I'll take it.
Thank you for your assistance.
Oh, there's another tiny battleship over here. Did I not save them earlier?
We need to recover one more ship. It should be close.
Or was that them?
Back. The Vaadwaur will be here at any moment. We must retreat.
Alright.
The cooperative
Let me
will
cloak.
not leave you defenseless.
Oh man, this is rough. See these little things that pop up? These little X's? I hate those. They do a lot of damage. Oh. Alright. So far I'm doing, nope, badly. I'm telling you, the Vaadwaur are hard, even on, you know, on the regular level. So, I don't know. I don't know if they need a buff or what, but, you know, for players who are just starting off, these are some of the most frustrating enemies in the game. You really don't have a lot of ability to kind of heal yourself or resist this onslaught that you get from these ships. And I have I mean, they don't help out much, but you know, I have Octani and Borg ships that are supposedly my allies and around here helping me out, but I mean, they don't do much of anything. So, you know, let me go ahead and pop off this Delta Alliance reinforcement so y'all could see it. Also need the help anyways, so might as well go ahead and do that. Oh no. I just wasted it. I just wasted it. You see, like, everybody's attacking me here. Like, my allies, I don't know where they're at. They're way out there, but everybody was attacking me at that point. And there was no way to get away.
Let's finish this.
Let's finish this. I don't know, y'all. I don't know if I can finish it. I don't know if I have it in me. Hey, you're gonna get, you know, you're gonna get everything raw here. I'm not editing any of it, so you can see my frustration at the Vaadwaur. You can see how my build does here. The Vaadwaur are really a hard enemy to defeat, especially if you have equipment at the lower levels. So they haven't done anything to change that either in this game. At least not that I'm aware of. Just kind of keep moving. I haven't been moving around a lot, so that's on me actually. But let me see here what I can do. I'm trying to get behind this ship so I can hit the enemy's rear arc. All right, here we go. All right. I think that was the last one. We'll see.
Thank you for your assistance. I believe
Yep.
we have taken an important
That was
step
it.
toward a truce with Species 6 with the ATT&x. I think we have more in common than we realize. I'm not reading any Vaadwaur craft on sensors. We'll handle things from here. Thank you once again for your assistance.
All right, leave the system. All right, so nobody ever said that I was a great builder of ships. Or a great Star Trek Online player to boot. But I wanted to show you guys something real, because that's going to be something that, as a lower level player, right? Like as somebody who's just starting off lower level, sorry, that sounds very condescending. Not lower level, as far as just somebody who's starting off, somebody who's a more casual player, I guess. You might have to deal with. And here, you might not have, access to some of these, even some of these weapons, right? And these are just mission reward weapons, but, you might be going around with some common gear, some uncommon gear, but not like very rare gear. So, it might be even harder for you to survive. This is a tier 5 ship. These are very rare Mark 12 weapons that I have and consoles. So even at that, the the Vaadwaur are kind of a really a difficult enemy to take care of, even at the normal level, right, of normal difficulty of gameplay. So I want to show you guys that to see kind of what that would look like for you potentially. I mean, the ship did okay. It got the job done, but I did blow up more than I did last time. The Wanted Argala. I think it's because the Kazon ships don't have all these extra abilities that some, like the alien race like the Vaadwaur, have in their ships. They're not shooting off these really powerful artillery weapons at you. They're not zipping around as fast as the Vaadwaur ships are. Basically, you got them on lock, and then all of a sudden they're behind you, that kind of a thing. So I think it's just easier, even at the advanced difficulty, to do Wanted Argala. But something like this patrol, the Unity one, the Vaadwaur system, where you're going up against the Vaadwaur, is going to be more challenging, even at the normal difficulty, simply because the Vaadwaur suck. And that's it. I hope this is fun for you. I hope that y'all enjoyed seeing me blow up a couple of times, but also seeing what the ship was capable of. I probably could have done that better, cloaked a little bit more, try to get into the enemy's rear arc a little bit more, moved more. So if you're a better pilot than I am, you might have better success with this build. If not, then this is probably what you could expect from this build. But it's not bad. Definitely a lot of the missions are going to be a lot easier for you with this kind of a build than if you're just grabbing things that just kind of drop here and there. So I hope that this has been informative to you. If you enjoy it, please go ahead and leave a like at the bottom of this video, letting me know that you appreciated this video. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do that. It really, all that stuff helps me out a lot, and I just really do appreciate that. Next, I think I'm going to do maybe a Polaron build is what I'm thinking, or a Plasma build. I don't know, but it's going to be a tier 5 again build, so be on the lookout for that. Again, hope you guys enjoy it. Have a good one. Live long and prosper, and I'll see you in the next one.